Welcome to Giving Voice to Vision. Let's join this month's guest, Sheila Schuller Coleman.
For those who've never met me or know anything about me, my name is Sheila Schuller Coleman, and my father was Robert Harold Schuller. I was raised all about vision, how important it is. And vision's never enough. You've got to also give voice to it. You have to let people know. You have to speak it. And then you have to live it. And you have to put it into action. And I thought that was really for him. I never thought that was for me. And here I was, 71 years old. That was a year ago. I was 71. And feeling and living a life of shalom, as I like to put it, a fully fulfilled grandma with all kinds of beautiful, wonderful grandchildren and a small church that was big enough for me to pastor as a volunteer. And just living life, loving life, and feeling like that I had done everything I needed to do in my life. And now my life was just to enjoy. And the next thing I knew was a year ago. It was June 14, 2022. And I was just having my quiet time with the Lord. And all of a sudden, I got a vision. Oh, yeah, I got a vision in my mind, in my head, and I call it a chicken vision. Oh, yeah, Dad got visions of a cathedral, and God gave me a chicken vision. And I chuckled and thought, well, sure, that's par for the course, and that's okay. Lord, I have a sense of humor. But what he said was, Sheila, I've put the church, the Big C church, under your right wing to cover the church. I need my church covered. We're in difficult days. I just want you to cover the church for me. Wow, I thought, how can I do that? I don't have an international platform like I did at one time. I thought, I don't know what this means, Lord, but whatever you ask me to do, the answer is yes. It's always yes. And then he said, that's only half the vision. He said, because under the left wing, I've put all the children of the world. And I thought, wow. And again, I thought, how in the world am I, this grandma? How am I in the world supposed to do that? I don't have the resources, human resources, financial resources. But you know what? When God raised up my dad, he didn't start by giving him a cathedral. The platform was a sticky tar paper roof on a drive-in theater, because Dad didn't have any resources either when he first began. But the vision that God gave me was to really rescue the children and to rescue his church in a way, but more to protect both of them. Because that's the idea. In Psalm 91, it talks about how we're called to cover the wings of the chicken. And we find our protection under the wings of God the Father. And that in turn, we provide that same covering over whatever he's asked us to cover. We pray for them. We protect them for him. And I thought that was it. But then out of the blue, he said, I want you to write a book. And the title is The Heart of a Warrior, Delivering the Children of the World for Christ. And then I'll be honest, I had no idea. What does that mean? Now, I did a lot of work as Dad's senior editor. Most of his books I helped write for him, with him. It's always his messages, what he wanted to say to the people, what God gave him to say. But he was so very, very, very busy that he needed someone to actually take those words and those messages and thoughts and ideas and put them into a publishable form. And so I was very used to being given writing assignments, usually by my father, sometimes by publishers, and then by professors. And I had my earned doctorate in education. from University of California, including a Distinguished Alumnus Award and years in education and administration, K through 12. And so this was like, it was as non-emotional when he told me to write this book. And he said, oh, and you have 3 months to have it disseminated. And I thought, well, okay, this is just a writing assignment. I'm really comfortable with writing assignments. I'm given a topic, I'm given a title even, and a deadline. And I thought, okay, yeah, it's a writing assignment. And you know, the interesting thing about writing assignments is that, and this is one reason why teachers and professors assigned them, it's in the process of writing it that you really learn why and what's important. And, you know, I began to write it because that's what I do. Every time I've been given a writing assignment, I just sit down and begin to write it, and I did. Because I had my doctorate in education, I started looking at the statistics. I thought, well, why? Why do the children of the world need delivering? I was a pastor. I didn't realize, I had no idea how much trouble God's children were in around the world. And I started looking up and looked at the data, and I looked up the data and I wrote about it. And God would just inspire me to look here and look there and talk about this. And as I did, he guided the writing. And I got to a point where it's embedded in chapter 7, I believe. The time to fight is now, because I kept saying, God, I'm not a warrior. I'm not a warrior. I'm not a warrior. I'm nothing but a big chicken, which is why I thought it was so apropos that God would give me my vision of me as a chicken. I claim the moniker. Yeah, I've always been one to run from a fight. I hate violence of any kind, always have. And, but so as I was writing the book, as I was looking into the data, I reached a point where I had to close my MacBook, put my head in my arms, and I began to weep. I just wept for God's children. They are in tremendous trouble. And after it was writing the book, I'm not the same person I was before God gave me that assignment. And this was the first time I got a writing assignment from God. So I took it very, very seriously. And I was just so changed, amazed. My heart was broken. I wrote it. And I thought, well, I'll send it to people. I'll call on people. This is so unlike me. My dad, he was bold and fearless, and he would go and he'd knock on doors and he'd call people and he'd say, Norma Vincent Peale, will you come and preach at my church? Will you? And he didn't know my father from the man on the moon. And, you know, all those kinds of things, that was not me. I was his daughter, but that was Dad. That wasn't me. But God was doing a whole new thing in me because of his children. And so I wrote the book. And I did not get didn't get very, very much response from people. I got added to a lot of mailing lists of people I sent it to, hoping they would interview me like we're doing today to raise the awareness. And I mainly, didn't hear back really from maybe one or two, just a handful. And so it was really Sound of Freedom, the movie Sound of Freedom, that I'm just now starting to see in America. In America, people and pastors and churches are starting to say, wait a minute. Has this been going on with our children? There's a lot more than that going on with the children. I can tell you that. And so I'm really, really grateful to the movie because it really awakened America. Now, I didn't have a international platform. So as I was writing it in the title, I kept trying to take out of the world. I kept wanting to change the title I felt God had given me. It was really, really clear. It wasn't my idea. I actually thought, I'm not sure this is kind of a weird title, God, but it's your title and I'll do it. And I kept wanting to take it out because I thought there's no way. It was real. And then the book, what is it about? It's about praying for the children, praying for them and how to pray, and tells all the stats on them. And a lot of people are like, I don't want to read that because that's depressing. And it's not. It's a book of hope. It's a book of, this is something I can do. I could just, for people who are immobile, or people, no matter what, I'm just sitting, maybe you're just sitting in a car waiting for your Starbucks. And you can pray from anywhere, anytime, costs you nothing. You can pray for the children. And it's a book of hope. It's a book of hope. And the thing that was really cool was as I was working on it, I also heard the Lord say to me one morning, Sheila, I want you to gift 2 sheep to a poor village in Africa. 2 sheep, a male and a female sheep. I thought, oh, that's easy. And I started calling friends. I've even got people in my church who are from Kenya, go home and visit Kenya frequently. I called and talked to all of them and I said, do you know a village that needs 2 sheep? Because I'm supposed to gift 2 of them and I want to be obedient to God. And I kept hearing, no, no, no. I thought, oh, I said, God, I'm trying. And then I met an amazing couple, Bill and Judy Henderson. They have a small church here in Fontana, California. And they also have churches and schools in Kenya. And so I called, and she was the one who said, oh my goodness, Sheila, this book needs, everybody should be reading it and praying for the children. And she said, it's important for America too, the children in America too. Well, the next thing you know, I said to her, I said, Judy, do you know anybody, any villages that need 2 sheep? God's asked me to give 2 sheep. I can't find anybody who needs them. Here's what she said. We've been praying for sheep in the village of Matisi. We've been praying for sheep. They'd been praying for sheep. There is a prayer in the book for the hungry and the poor and the starving children that I'd been praying. So I'd been praying for them. We both had been sending up these prayers, and our prayers crossed, intersected, and God brought them together. And that's what happens when we pray. It's not this nebulous, just words or thoughts that go out into nowhere. They go to God, the Abba, the Father, who cares for his children. He really, really cares to the point where his heart breaks for them. And so then when people pray, when he hears the prayers in the supernatural, and he moves in the hearts of those of us here in the natural to step up and do something that answers that prayer. Please go to the website. It's a wonderful website. It's called heartofawarrior.net.